Hi, this is going to be finger picking video number 2. In the first one I talked a lot about how to position your right hand and how to work to create independence in the motion of your thumb and the motion of your fingers, and also what a good relationship between the placement of your thumb and your fingers should be so that they don't get in each other's way while you're playing. This will help you to move more smoothly, to be able to produce volume with less effort, and also to get a great tone out of the guitar. And all of those things, I think, are real important. So what I'm going on to here is putting all that stuff to work to create the two basic, what are known as Travis picking patterns that everybody needs to know to really get, off the ground as far as finger picking goes. Now, finger picking is, finger style guitar, which is a thing that you hear a lot about these days, is a bigger umbrella than finger picking. Finger style basically is, anytime you're choosing to use your fingers to strike the strings on the guitar as opposed to using a pick, or at least exclusively a flat pick. And finger picking is very often meant to refer to this sort of rolling, alternating bass pattern. And a lot of those things were popularized by the great Merle Travis back in the day. All of Merle's records are still out there, well worth checking out. Prepare to get your ears fried right off your head. But anyway, when you play that stuff, there are two basic relationships that you're going to want to learn to deal with in order to help yourself develop the proper degree of independence between what you're doing with the thumb to create bass lines and the fingers to create melodies. Okay, so again, this was the reason for the first video, just to help you get your picking hand set up in a way that will work well for you. So what I'm doing is using a plain old open G major chord, and you can't see my fretting hand in this, I know, because I want you to be able to concentrate on my picking hand and see it from a clear angle. But what I'm going to be doing as the bass line with this G chord is simply bouncing, in this case, the thumb pick. You could also do it with your bare thumb, back and forth between strings 6 and 4. Okay, now notice when I play, I don't really support my hand all the time anywhere on the guitar. A lot of people will go ahead and place the pinky finger. When they do that, that's cool. That can work very well for you. Sometimes I'll place it back here on the bridge. Not necessarily because I'm trying to get a palm mute. Of course, you have to touch if you want the palm mute, but there are things that I play sometimes where I feel a little bit more stable or a little bit more efficient if I can just touch part of the heel of my hand back here on the bridge pins behind the saddle. But anyway, in this case, I'm going to be playing with my hand floating. And so you can see I'm mainly using the muscles that swing the thumb, and I'm going to hit strings 6, 4, 6, 4. Now this is really important because you're using your thumb to mark the beat. Most of the time we're playing in 4/4 time, counting 4 beats to a measure. And so what you're doing when you play like that is counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we really prize evenness and steadiness because your thumb is really the bass player and the drummer in this band. So you want those guys locked down and doing what they do. Now, not in every piece, certainly, because an amazing variety of combinations has been explored, but for much of the music that we call finger picking, the melody notes that you play with your fingers are going to fall in one of two places in relation to the bass notes. If they're right on the beat, then they're going to be played by what we call, or what some of us call, I call, a pinch motion, meaning that you're going to move your thumb, and in this case my index finger, on the 3rd string at the same time. Okay, now if I made the 2nd string, which in this case I'm playing with my middle finger, the other melody note I wanted to play, and this is going to lead to more of something you'd hear as an accompaniment pattern, not really a melody, not really a tune sitting on top of a bass line, then I would be pinching strings 6 and 3, and then 4 and 2, 6 and 3, 4 and 2. So not a bad idea to practice first with your thumb and get to the point where you can really do that easily, not too much thought required. Then work with your fingers ditto for that. You don't want to have to think about how you're going to do that. And then when you put it all together, you'll have, sorry. Okay. Now, you do not want to try to do that too quickly. You do want to try and produce a fair amount of volume and try to get the best tone you can, because that helps things to sound musical. And speed, though, you know, the thing, you're not going to be doing banjo tempos right away. All that stuff's going to come after a lot of practice. So that's the first basic pattern, the pinch pattern, where once you know which of the strings you intend to hit inside of which chord, you can line them up. In this case, I'm putting 6 and 3 together on beats 1 and 3, and then I'm hitting strings 4 and 2 together on beats 2 and 4. So my beats are counted 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and I'm just going to play that over and over and over until I got it down. Okay, the second pattern is a pattern where the melody notes are played by your fingers are going to be in alternation with the bass notes. So you're going to keep your thumb going where it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm playing the same melody notes with the same fingers, but now I'm going to play 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so this is an eighth note rhythm. We're taking every beat and we're dividing it into equal halves. Which is why I'm saying and for the notes that are struck in between the beats that are being marked by your thumb. So string 6 with your thumb, followed by string 3 with your index finger, string 4 with your thumb, followed by string 2 played with your middle finger. Okay, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I'm counting, or sorry, the strings that I'm hitting are 6, 3, 4, 2, 6, 3, 4, 2. So really, all of the melody notes that you can play are going to fall either on a beat, in which case you're pinching them, or they're going to fall in between the beats, in which case you're alternating. Okay? Now this is the first mountain that you have to climb if you want to be a finger picker. All of this stuff is going to seem really awkward to most people. There's so many things to think about. Keeping the thumb out from the fingers. Remember, keeping a lane for the thumb to work in and a lane for the fingers to work in. Figuring out how to place your fingers, or in the case of the thumb pick, place these things on the string so that you can get a good tone. Figuring out, for that matter, what, in your opinion, a good tone even is. And then just slowly not a bad idea to set up patterns where you play, for instance, 2 measures of the pinch pattern, like this, followed by 2 measures of the alternating pattern. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Back to the pinch. Missed a note there. Alternate. Then you're going to want to move on to the C chord, where your bass notes are going to be usually strings 5 and 4, keeping my fingers on the same melody notes. If I were playing an E minor chord, I'd be back to bass notes 6 and 4, and again. Okay. If I were playing an A chord or an A minor, bass notes on strings 5 and 4. One big exception to this for a lot of people is the D chord, in which case now I might want to move my bass notes to strings 4 and 3, and my melody my melody strings are going to be 2 and 1. So that's the index finger on string 2 and the middle finger on string 1, and that gives me. So you've got to work out for each chord you want to play, where do the bass strings lie, which of the available notes are you going to use for the melody fingers. You can play melody notes with just your first finger if you prefer, or actually just your middle finger if you prefer. I like the efficiency of being able to use two fingers because there are times when you definitely need a little bit of extra speed just to keep things running smoothly. Okay, so this is a lot to think about, a lot to practice. It all looks really simple, and it is basically really simple, but simple does not equal easy. So get ready to think this thing through, really break it down, practice the thumb alone, practice the fingers alone, put everything together at slow tempos, get ready to do a lot of counting, and once you've planned it all out, a whole lot of repetition to really get it down. Okay, hope this helps.